The program was such a success. It was expanded to the South Atlantic Division. And all, up until that time, it was all paid for out of just the district's training funds. And then about the third cohort, it was expanded to a nationwide, really a worldwide program that people in the now from Korea, Israel, Germany, I think. And so at that point, we talked to workforce development and Ms. Brosh, Paige Brosh, and she should be on the phone. She had the idea, of expanding to not only construction people, but also to contracting people in the acquisition cohort. So that's how the program started being funded by Titus Fund. And so that was a huge deal. And so we continued on with the course participation. So, that's a quick history. I don't know, I've lost track of Luke can probably tell you. I think we're on the 5th cohort so far. In excess of 70 people have graduated, actually got a master's degree through the program. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Luke.
Thank you, Alan. As Alan said, we've had a little bit of a history with the program. We've been pretty successful at this. In delivering this program, we started out with, doing something for the course specifically, and we have essentially anybody can apply to the program right now. A little bit about myself. I'm a faculty member in the Corey School of Building Science at Auburn University. I am in charge of distance education programs in our school. We only have graduate distance education programs, and part of what I'm going to be talking about is those courses that we teach as part of that program. So Kelli, if you could move forward. So why this certificate program in building construction? Well, as you may well understand, being the Corps of Engineers, we typically tend to hire engineers. And being an engineer myself, we don't really get taught a lot of construction related things in engineering programs. So if you look at the variety of programs out there right now, since the 1940s, late 1940s, this new profession called construction management, which is an actual academic discipline on many campuses now, has sort of taken off. So it's relatively new if you look at it from a historic perspective. So there's a reason why it wasn't taught for a number of years in engineering programs, and now there is a separate discipline itself. So what are we there to do? What kind of education do we provide? Well, if you look at the bullets on this slide, almost everything in that slide is talking about what we teach to our students on a daily basis. So we have about 500 undergraduate students, about 70 or so graduate students, and this is what we teach because construction is both a technical as well as a managerial profession. If you think about what actually happens in a construction site, you've got to make decisions that are technical decisions, so you need to have some understanding of why things need to be built the way they are built, which is what engineering schools are very good at teaching. And we also need to understand the money part of construction, the litigation part of construction, the contractual part of construction. And business schools are pretty good at teaching that. But construction management professions that will sort of bridge the gap, and in the sense that they teach those specific issues, that is technical issues as well as managerial issues, specifically for the construction industry. And our students go on to work anywhere from being a small home builder all the way to very large global construction firms doing construction operations all over the world. So our approach is not necessarily to train government people, people that are working for large owners, but our majority of our students work for contractors. So we try to present the perspective of what a contractor needs to know in order to be successful in the business. So our approach is from that perspective, which is actually very useful if you think about it for an owner, because there's so many things that contractors have to do that may at the outset seem like not the best decision for the owner, but then when you start thinking about putting yourself in the contractor's shoes, you get a better understanding of why those decisions have to be made. So with that, I'll move forward to the next slide, Kelli. So a little bit about our program itself. We have 3 certificate courses, 3 certificates, if you would, as part of the program. Each certificate is 4 classes, and each class is 3 hours. So basically adds up to 12 credits for 1 certificate. And in any given semester, you take 2 courses. Again, the program is designed for people to be working full-time and be in school at the same time. So I think 2 courses per semester is manageable. Students take 6 hours from that perspective. And certificate 1 starts in fall semester in August, and it will end in May of 2017. And that is 4 courses, and I'll talk a little bit about that. After certificate 1 is complete, if students wish to continue, we have 2 more certificates, and those 2 certificates are sort of taught concurrently. So we may have 1 semester where you take 2 courses, and then in the next semester you may take 2 certificate 3 courses, or 1 of each, and so on, depending on who's available to teach. But the students typically enroll in both certificates 2 and 3 if they wish to continue on, or not at all. We would have some people that don't come back after certificate 1 for various reasons. And then after you complete all 3 certificates, which is essentially you take 12 classes, adds up to 36 credits, 12 times 3, and you have 1 more class that you can take called the capstone class. And if you do the capstone class as well, you get what we call the Master of Building Construction degree. This is the highest degree we offer in our school. We don't have a PhD program, but our students, I would say, from the last few years that we've been teaching, I would say about 90% of our students continue on and then get a Master of Building Construction degree as well. So if we go to the next slide. So as part of the certificate program, there is what we call as a mandatory residency period. Before classes start on campus, which is our regular classes for our 25,000 students on campus, we invite students in the distance program to come to Auburn, and typically it is 4 or 5 days, depending on which year you look at. But for planning purposes, it's best to think that you're here for a week. And essentially, you are in class from supposed to be from 8 to 5, but then sometimes we start at 7 and then go till 6, so that on Friday afternoon we can let everybody leave early so they can catch a flight to go wherever they're headed. So the first week so about a third of the program is sort of delivered that way, and each of those 5 days that you're in Auburn, you meet with your professor for whatever class you're taking for about 3 to 4 hours each day, maybe 5 sometimes. And then between the 2 professors, as in between the 2 classes, you'll complete almost a third of the requirement for the class while you're here. And we also have the residency. We'd like for people to come to the residencies because we think it's very important. Occasionally, we will make an exception if somebody can't attend. We always take classes. We will take classes and let them watch the videos if they're a special deployment or something like that. Our webinars, and after you're gone from residency, after the first week you're done, you leave Auburn and you don't come back until the beginning of the next semester. After that, we meet once a week for 2 hours, typically on a Tuesday or Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time. So that puts people at whatever time zone they're in, but most of the time, students are able to attend. We've got people attending from Germany and Israel and Korea, so it's not like it hasn't been done before. So that's kind of how that plays out. Typically Tuesday or Wednesday nights, it's announced a semester ahead of time as to what night that's going to be, so it allows people to plan better. But essentially it's based on availability of the instructor and what other classes they're teaching. So once the residency period is done, you pretty much are meeting online and then doing all the work online. There's a fair amount of material that we have developed over the years that is sort of content that is self-paced. So you basically have to go through the website that we use. We use a learning management system called Canvas, called the LMS, and which is where we post all our assignments and videos and lectures and whatnot. And you know, as distance students, you're at a disadvantage in that you're not going to be able to knock on the professor's door to sit down and talk with them. But professors are very accessible in that while you're here, they'll give you their cell phone number and their contact information, and you can get in touch with them by any means, so that you can have your questions answered in that way. And all our professors are fairly available as far as being able to contact and talk to you by distance, whether it is through WebEx or through a webinar like this, or through a telephone call or email or even one-on-one Skype. So we call these certificates 1, 2, and 3, but we have actually a more poignant name for that that sort of conveys what is in each of these certificates. The first one is called the Graduate Certificate in Construction Management. It's sort of a broad overview of what's involved in the certificate. And then the second one is Executive Technical Certificate in Construction Management. And essentially all the technical aspects are talked about in this class, in these 4 classes. And then the last one is Executive Integrated Processes Certificate in Construction Management, which is talking about some of the contractual things, some of the project management things, some of the leadership things that are typically involved in each of these certificates. So if we go to the next slide, Certificate 1 is about construction cost scheduling and construction construction cost estimating and construction project management and scheduling. So that's the first semester. Now, I must say, before even the first semester starts, our first semester starts in July, in order to get everybody, we've got several people from the contracting side as well that will attend these certificate programs, people that might generally have a background in business or some other discipline. And in order to get everybody to the same level field, what we have is a month-long of video material that is self-paced, that people have to watch the videos and answer quizzes, and this typically happens from July 1st to August 15th. So in that time period, we get everybody to sort of understand how to read drawings, understand how construction takes place, understand some basic terminology about construction before we start talking about it when you get here. So hello?
Did we lose you?
Yes. I think we lost everybody. I'm still here. I'm still here.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Still here.
No, Martha may have glitching again and then.
Can you just watch the nuke?
Yeah. We'll see if a nuke can get back in. We'll give him a minute.
So I hold on.
Yep.
In case he even knows that he's offline.
Let's see. I can send him an email.
I'll call him. I'm going to call him up. Kelly. I think I got cut off for some reason.
That's okay.
My apologies. I want to continue on with our certificate program certificate one discussion. And so the supplementary material is sort of completed from July 1 to August 15 or August, whenever the residency period starts, which is the week before classes start. Typically, first, I want to say it starts around 6, 7 of August, typically on a Monday, so whenever that happens. And the dates for the next residency are already announced, and I believe the residency date for August 2016 is from 8 through 12 of August. 8 through 12 of August for this year. And certificate one continues on into the spring semester where you are taught about construction law and contracting business. And then also we have a heavy civil construction course because that's sort of fairly different, unique from commercial construction, which is so basically we have a course that sort of talks about horizontal construction and some big projects, if you would, that are not necessarily vertical construction. Must say that many of our students typically go to work for construction companies that do vertical construction. But if you think about it from the perspective of construction, concrete is so concrete, steel is still the same, no matter whether you're building it horizontally or vertically. There are many similarities, obviously differences as well. But we have a course dedicated to heavy civil construction, which is relatively new, and we know that there are several activities in the course that involve heavy civil construction. So moving on after Certificate 1, now you have to finish Certificate 1 with a grade point average of 3.0 or higher. And once you've completed Certificate 1, then you can apply to Certificate 2 and 3. Certificate 2 has these 4 courses: mechanical and plumbing systems, electrical systems, construction information management. A big part of that is BIM. What is BIM? Once you get a BIM model, what do you do with that? How can you manage construction with that? How can you coordinate different trades with that? How can you move that model on to somebody that can then take it and then manage that facility in its lifetime and all those issues. And then we have our structural systems or sustainable construction. One of those 2 courses is taught as an elective. Depending on how many people we have, you may offer both of them. If you don't have at least 12 to 15 students in each, we'd only offer one of them. So moving on, in Certificate 3, which is it's actually Executive Certificate in Integrated Processes. That's the title of the certificate itself, but it has these courses, Integrated Process 1 and Integrated Process 2. And if you think about the life cycle of a project, it starts from someone getting an idea of building a project, how we're going to fund the project in a typical private setting, and then how does that project then go from funding to actual design and all the things that need to happen pre-design. And then it then goes to Integrated Process 2, where we talk about project management issues, essentially issues that are from the time we dig ditches to pour the foundation to the time where we turn around and say, hey, Mr. Owner, here are your keys, and also the discussion continues on into the facility management. We don't spend a whole lot of time in the FM area, but we do talk about what's involved in the life cycle of the project to the time when the owner is ready to say, all right, this building needs to be refurbished or redone, and then whatever needs to happen to refurbish the building or demolish the building and build another one in its place. So that's kind of Certificates 1 and 2. You can think of that as a certificate. Integrated Process 1 and 2. You can think of that as a cradle to grave sort of a construction. What happens in a construction project? And so if you can go back one more time to the previous slide. So we have 2 other classes in certificates. The next one, I guess. Yeah. So executive issues in construction, which is essentially a leadership course. Many of our students are already are employed and working in the construction industry or related fields, such as representing an owner like yourself. And there are many aspects of how a big part of construction, no matter what level you're at, is managing people. And people, we all come with our own unique personality, and if you're going to be a leader trying to get things moving forward, it's really important to understand what makes people tick, how to encourage people to get their best effort, and how you can organize yourself to be prepared to be a leader in the industry. So that's it's more of a course which is it's not really a course that is taught as much as it is sort of a course that is coordinated along with the students. The students also have a lot of flexibility in terms of what they want to get out of that class. And then we have another elective. This one is going to be either sustainable construction or risk management in construction. Again, depending on how many people we have, we may offer both of them if we have enough students for each section to make. So moving to the next slide, the cost is $1,000 per semester hour. So for a 36-hour master's or 39-hour master's program with 36 hours to complete all three certificates, it's $36,000. That includes all books. The only thing that students are responsible for as far as the program is concerned is that you need to have a good laptop. A good laptop on which you can add programs. We give the students whatever programs we're going to computer software that we're going to use in class. So you need to have a laptop that you can add software to. So a lot of times your employer-issued laptops may not be sufficient for that purpose. As we understand it, as I said, these certificate programs are open to people all over. They don't necessarily have to work for the Corps of Engineers, and the cost is the same. And if you look at a cost comparison, for a student that goes to Auburn for a 2-year term to get a master's degree, and if the student is paying out-of-state tuition, this actually ends up being a little cheaper in that our yearly out-of-state tuition is about $32,000 right now. So if you take two of those, this certificate cost is less expensive than that. Moving on, as I talked about at the beginning of the presentation, that what we essentially teach students is about a combination of engineering principles and management principles. Because if you think about a building, a vertical construction building, or a bridge, or anything of that nature that requires people to understand how things go together, why things are designed the way they are, and the sequence in which different activities on a construction site need to take place, are both technical as well as managerial. And how do you sort of manage that process is sort of what we teach. So it's a combination of different engineering principles, and because if you look at a complicated building nowadays, a big part of the building cost is its MEP system. Well, MEP systems are designed the way they are because of many principles. So students need to understand what are those principles, what is the ultimate objective of installing that system, how is it supposed to perform, and then what do we need to do in the construction process to ensure that it's actually going to perform the way it is designed, right? So it sort of brings both of those together. As I talked about, the program is these certificates are designed so that students can be in school and work at the same time. The program requires you to you typically have a 15-week semester, and per week, outside of being in residency and the 2 hours in class, it may be anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. that you have to spend to be successful, I would say. Some weeks maybe more, some weeks maybe less, but on average, it may be about 4 to 6 hours. And I think Kelly's in our program, and I'll let her echo that if she feels the same or differently.
Yeah, I think that's true. You know, when there's a lot of projects or tests kind of bunched around certain times, then there could be you know, some added time. But I think it varies by class too, and the kind of assignments that we have. Because like right now I'm doing the risk management course, and some of those assignments are pretty lengthy, and the amount of time that they take, same with like the BIM course. So it just kind of depends on the class and kind of your aptitude for the information that you're learning. If you already have a background in it, you're speedy and quick at it, then it may not take you as long. But if it's new information to you, then it could take longer.
And then our program, what I typically tell people is it's a very practical education that we're trying to deliver here. It is not, there's really nothing theoretical about it. Almost all problems that we try to bring to the classroom are things that somebody on the construction side has to be able to answer. So from that perspective, it's really what we're trying to graduate are people who need very little hand-holding when they graduate. When they don't work for a contractor, and again, typically that's who we graduate, is students that go to work for a contractor. They should need very little hand-holding once they complete our program. We do have a website. You're welcome to take a look at it. It is auburn.edu/construction. Okay. And you can look at the information on there. If you look up Auburn Building Science, you'll come to our website. There's lots of information about the program if you want to know more about it. In conclusion, one more slide. I think, as I told you several times already, the mix of technical classes and business principles and business practices that are specific to construction, both horizontal and vertical, that we talk about. You know, part of the reason the program has grown is because of its popularity within USAID. You know, we started with about 20 students, and once that was done, the Savannah district said, you know, we got a few more people that want to do it. And then we went from 20 to 10 the next time. And then after that, we really had a national/international program where we had students from all over the world. And I can't tell you I want to say once a month I get a testimonial from one of our former students who still works for USAID, you know, congratulating us on what we've delivered to them and how useful it has been. And for the most part, I encourage you all to, if you know anybody that's in the program or has completed the program, to talk to them to get their perspective on what they think. Because I can tell you that we can be better. And I'm not going to say that everything is perfect, you know, as with anything in life. But we continue to get better, and part of our process has been to learn from the school, learn from our students, and then sort of deliver a better course the next time around.
Thanks, Anoop. So I don't know, Alan, if you have any other remarks, or if we want to just open it up to questions. Or sorry, I meant Alan. Yeah. Alan, if you had anything else.
No, I don't. I think it's just open it up for questions. I'm going to have to dial back in. My fire alarm is going off.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm going to try to dial in before I hang up. So y'all go ahead and see if I don't answer, that's fine. So,
okay.
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah.
What kind of computer did you get for this? Because, I mean, I know, you know, we can't have flash drives on our computer here from the government, and with everything I have on mine that I use here at Huntsville Center, I don't want to put any of this on that. So what kind of computer did you get for the program?
So I ended up buying a computer before I got into the program, and I went with a MacBook Pro, which I don't recommend unless you're like computer savvy and can get the Windows desktop installed and get that booted up and have success in getting just basic programs installed. I mean, I was able to do a lot of work with it, and there are programs available for Macs, but for the most part, if you go with a Windows computer, then you won't have issues with getting the Vim program when you have the Vim course that comes around. Also, with the risk management piece that we're doing, we use At Risk, which is I think it's made by Palisade, and it's kind of like a plug-in for Excel. And so those things are a little more difficult and created problems for me and some other people that were trying to use Mac. And then
you need a disk drive on it instead of a thumb drive?
No.
Flash drive is enough.
Yeah, because I think most of the programs, Auburn will provide it via the shared drive that you'll have access to when you use VPN, or some of them are downloadable from a website. So you shouldn't need that. But yeah, flash drive, I think like a nuke said, I think they'll give you the programs when you're at the on-site week to make sure that they've got IT people that are available to help you with making sure that you're able to get the programs installed, so you're not left trying to do this when you go home.
Okay, any set memory thing you think is a good idea?
I don't know, Anoop, if there's anything, if there's like a minimum for Vim. That would be the only
right. So essentially, what we tell people is to try to get 8 to 16 GB of RAM, and then as far as memory, that's nowadays anywhere from 500 gigabytes to 1 terabyte is normal for laptops. If you get a laptop about that size, and then at least 1 gigabyte of video memory. And if you get a laptop of that size, then I would suggest that should be enough. And that laptop that I just described is going to cost anywhere from, depending on who makes it, anywhere from $650 to $1,100.
Okay. My question. Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, good question.
Can you talk a little bit more about the capstone research project? Right. So essentially, it's our students are getting a Master of Building Construction degree, and our idea is that you would take this capstone course and then it's almost like an independent project, and you're paired with a professor, and most of the time you get your first choice of who you want to work with from the panel of professors that you have, and then you essentially take that topic, whatever topic may be of interest to you, and then do a detailed study on a very simple yet profound research question. And essentially, by the time you're done, you know more about or as much about it as anyone else. So our students have chosen all kinds of topics, anything that is very specific to the Corps of Engineers, or it's very specific to the construction industry. So it's probably the only course in the entire program where you decide what you want to study, and then we'll enable you in the process. But there are intermediate deadlines just to make sure that our students stay on pace. And by the time you're done, it's an independent study paper. By the time you're done, most students ask me how long is it, and usually 300 pages is 400 pages. So there's no particular length to it. I'd like to think that the length is not really an issue. I mean, if you invented penicillin, then you only wrote about it in 10 pages. It doesn't make it any less significant. So I'm not saying that our students are going to invent penicillin, but they're going to do some good research on a topic of their choice that they find interesting. And most of our capstones end up anywhere from 60 to 120 pages.
So, this is Prabha Sharma here. In terms of the capstone project, do you also, like any other master's program, are we expected to defend this in front of a committee? And is the referee publication or presentation, a necessary outcome towards getting the master's degree?
Very good question. You do have a committee that you have to defend your presentation in. By the time you get to your defense, it's more of a formality. We will not let you defend unless we are sure that you have done what you needed to do. We wouldn't let students. We don't want to set up students for failure, if that makes sense. But no, a referee publication may be the outcome of your research, but it is not a requirement for graduation. Your professor and you may decide that you're going to take what you have accomplished in that and then present it for at a journal or a conference or something, but that's not a requirement.
Thank you.
Kelly, are you or someone else going to talk about the funding mechanism for this?
Martha Mayville is on the call, so Martha, I don't know if you want to give them a rundown.
Okay, I can.
Or Alan.
Anyway, so for the free certificates, the funding is paid, your tuition and travel costs are paid with starting funds, defense acquisition, workforce development funds. Okay, and but your labor is paid for by your home district. Okay, so starting funds do not fund your labor. And that's for the free certificate. For the capstone, the paying for the capstone, including tuition, is an individual responsibility.
Can you say that last part one more time?
Paying for the capstone, including tuition, is a 3-hour course, so basically $3,000. And funding that is an individual responsibility. Unless you found a topic that is so profound, so interesting, and it's going to have support engineers so much that you can talk your district into paying for it. Today, I don't know of any district that is paying for somebody's capstone. That's not to say that hasn't happened, but I'm not aware of it.
Let me add on to that in reference to data. My name is Jeanette Johnson. I'm here at the USACE headquarters, and I've been with USACE for a year now, and I just recently started working the DADA program, which is the acronym for the Defense Acquisition Workforce Development Fund. It's a program that is spearheaded by the Army. It's funded by the Army, and there are two primary category criteria that you need to meet. One is your position has to be coded as an acquisition position. Two, then you can get your supervisor and you to sit down and go over what your position description is and identify if 50% or more of what you do in your job performance is considered acquisition. If it's not already coded, then between your supervisor and your employee, you can come to a mutual agreement that you will have your position coded as acquisition. There are basically 14 different categories for the acquisition program in order for DADA to fund a career development course for you. But as long as you meet those requirements, DADA will fund your career development. And as I said before, this is a program that is spearheaded at the Army level.
And the way we are working it at the USAFE headquarters is we go out to the divisions and the districts, and we ask for, through the OAP, the Organization Acquisition Point of Contact, do you have anyone who is interested in going to a course for example, the month of June? We are now currently, we'll conclude taking our names for people who are planning to attend a course for the month of June. So we do this on a monthly basis through the Organization Acquisition Point of Contact for the non-1100 series. Now, the 1100 series are done through a different hierarchy, which is done through the contracting arena. But for acquisition people, I am the point of contact at the USAFE headquarters that takes on a monthly basis names and information for people who want to attend courses using the Bodice Fund.
So, Jeanette, this is Kelly. I just want to interrupt for a second. So far, contracting has taken the lead on getting the funds together for this particular program. Are you saying that you would be doing that separate from contracting for the construction?
We work hand in hand with contracting.
Okay.
Contracting gets the money directly, and they divvy out to us what we will need to support course development for personnel who are 9-1100 series.
Okay, but that's
hold on, time out. So getting back to the specifics of this program, the audience funds have already been requested for FY17. They've not been received yet. But those funds are always requested through the director of the contract. And that request has already been moved forward. And depending on what funds are received from Zaudia, that depends on how many people get to sign up for a class. I mean, how many people are accepted in the class.
Well, not quite. We get to project we get to determine, we can ask Army for the one. They will have that goes through contracting, and contracting provides that to Army, and Army decides on how much money we will get.
Yes, ma'am, you're absolutely correct. However, that funds request for this program has already been made. And Ms. Mayfield is on the phone. She's the one that made the request. So those funds have already been requested. Okay?
Yes, they have been requested for FY17, yes.
Sorry.
All right. I don't think that there's anything added with the conversation regarding this request in this program and information that people need today. So.
Right, and so what people need to know is Josh is absolutely correct. What you have to do, you have to be a member of the acquisition corps. You know, look at the announcement. The requirements are have an ACLB. You have to get total from your first line and second line supervisor. You have to train a 500-word statement while you want to be in the program, and your college transcript. And then everybody submits their application. And then there's a committee that meets at the headquarters level and decides who gets selected for the program.
Can I ask a question here?
Yes.
I'm on the phone. I'm curious, so this is Mount Vernon OAP at South Atlantic Division.